Today's episode of Todd's Turntable Talk is brought to you by the letter C. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Todd's Turntable Talk. Before we get started, like always, I want to remind everybody to please make sure and hit that subscribe button, as well as the bell notification to let you know whenever a new episode drops on our channel. Now, you've seen the letter A and the letter B in my collection, and so the next logical step we are going to is the letter C. These are all the records in my collection categorized under C. Last name first if it's a solo artist, or the first letter in the band name if it's a band. I alphabetize everything library style. I'm in my 40s. That's how we used to alphabetize things. Nowadays, people just do it the first letter of everything. Drives me nuts. Anyway, so moving on to the letter C. The first record in my collection in the letter C. This album is amazing. Sun Studios label, original press, Johnny Cash, original golden hits, volume 1. This has so many of the legendary Johnny Cash songs. Folsom Prison Blues, Hey Porter, Cry, 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 I Walk the Line, Home of the Blues, Get Rhythm. This is great. I need to find volume 2. The hunt is still on for that, because we need things like Ring of Fire in this final collection. Not today, though. Great album. Next, another older album, and I feel one of his best ever, and a true classic, and a great, great record. Ray Charles, Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music. This album was a huge turning point for Ray's career. Such things as You Don't Know Me, Bye Bye Love, Born to Lose, You Win Again, I Can't Stop Loving You. Just a great album. Next, another band nobody should be without in their collection. I just kind of went for the greatest hits, and that is Chicago. Greatest hits. Stuff ranging from Anybody Know What Time It Is, 25 or 6 to 4, Color My World, Beginnings. A great compilation album. Next up, somebody, my friend Michael Pitts got me listening to, and I got this album 2 years ago, and it's still regularly in rotation in my stuff. This is Donald Glover's musical project, Childish Gambino, and his album, Awaken My Love. A fantastic soul, infused with hip-hop, R&B, just really, really good. Just really great. Next up, one of the reasons I wanted to learn to play drums years and years ago, and an amazing songwriter, and this was his first solo album, Phil Collins, Face Value. Songs like In the Air Tonight comes from here, but my favorite song on this whole album is I Missed Again. Really great big band kind of feel. Also a really cool version of Behind the Lines, which was a Genesis tune that he sped up and made it a little funkier for this album. Keeping in the Phil Collins vein, this is my favorite Phil Collins album. My Aunt Carol had this on vinyl, and I used to listen to it all the time whenever I would go over there as a kid. This is Phil Collins' No Jacket Required. Songs like Susudio, I Don't Want to Know, One More Night, Don't Lose That Number, and one of his best, in my opinion, Take Me Home, all on this album right here. This next album here I got in 2012 when I started collecting vinyl again. My dear friend Ashley Peacock, who's no longer with us, took me to this record store. And the record store was called Everybody's. It was in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we were talking about me getting back into vinyl as he had gotten back into it recently. And I said, man, there's 2 albums I would love to find, but I don't know if I ever even would come across them. Well, I found both of them in that store that day. The other one is later on when we get to the letter L, a few videos away. But one of them was this, which features one of the most beautiful and poignant songs ever written. This is Sam Cooke's album Shake, featuring the song A Change Is Gonna Come. This album is just, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. This next one I got from my brother-in-law. He got this for me, I want to say it was Christmas last year. This album by the great, legendary Alice Cooper, and it's also autographed by the man himself, Alice Cooper's Detroit Stories. My brother-in-law went to a meet and greet and met the legendary Alice Cooper and got me this autographed copy. And it's an amazing album. It's songs like his version of Rock and Roll, which is a Mitch Ryder Detroit Wheels song. Our Love Will Change the World. Social Debris. My favorite on this is a song called $1,000 High Heel Shoes. Really fun track, and it's just a great rock record. It's really good. Next, this is a tricky section in my records because on one hand, this stuff is time capsule, at the time legendary, and now over the last few years, it's not something you really want to brag about having in your collection, but we're being honest and going through my whole collection and showing you things I have. My grandmother was a humongous fan of this person, and it is one of the records that got me wanting to own records. And until a few years ago, it was a cool thing to have. And you know, I do not endorse anything that's happened with this person in the past few years, but I just can't bring myself to part with these because of what they mean significantly to me, aside from who it is. And that is Bill Cosby. And the album is A Very Funny Fellow. This actually belonged to my grandmother. This was my Nana's record, and she gave it to me a long time ago, and I've treasured it and held on to it ever since. And because of that, I took it upon myself for years to collect as many of his albums as I could find. And this just keeps going for a minute as we keep going through. Because, man, this guy had more albums than I knew he had. This one of the best ones, To Russell, My Brother, Whom I Slept With. Fantastic. And it just keeps going. And going. And going. His monumental album himself, which also became a comedy movie special. And finally, To Those of You With or Without Children, You'll Understand, which features the whole Genesis routine about the creation of about humans and stuff like that. So that's my chunk of Cosby. Will I be going out and buying anything new of his and giving him my money? Probably not, but those records have been here. A lot of them have been here over 15, 20 years. And they'll stay here forever. They just will. Next up, another greatest hits album. And this person is somebody my dad is a big fan of and got me listening to. And that is Jim Croce's Photographs and Memories. This has all the greats: Bad Bad Leroy Brown, Operator, the title track, Photographs and Memories, Working at the Car Wash Blues, Up to Say I Love You in a Song, I've Got a Name. Just a great greatest hits. Next up, you probably, if you follow me on TikTok, you'll see I did a little video of my top 10 favorite albums in my collection. This is one of them. This was a gift from my dear friend Michael Pitts, who I've mentioned a couple times before. When I seriously got back into vinyl, he gifted me this randomly one day, and I treasure it. It is one of my favorite albums in the whole universe, and that is Counting Crows, August, and Everything After. Aside from the hits, you know, like Round Here and Mr. Jones and The Rain King, songs like Anna Begins, Perfect Blue Buildings, Raining in Baltimore, A Murder of One, just it is an amazing album. It's just so good. Next up, this is a band that I listened to in high school a lot. Yes, I did, and you know, I never fell in with the hate. Just like I never fell in with the Nickelback hate. They have some good songs. They do. But I found this at Walmart, really cool. 3-disc greatest hits. Creed greatest hits. And I'm not going to take it out because it's hard to see in the lighting. But the fourth side, and it's only 3 sides. 2 discs, but only 3 sides. This cool tribal thing is etched into side 4 as just a really cool collector's looking thing. Next, this is an album that I bought right after the pandemic, when it was okay to go outside again and do things. And I looked for this for a while and really wanted to get it because the songs I had heard from it, I just absolutely loved. And while I wasn't a big fan of her super early stuff, as she got older, I started to understand and dig her stuff more. And this album, I think, is her masterpiece. And this is Miley Cyrus's Plastic Hearts. This is an amazing record. I love every song on it. It's just amazing. Angels Like You is probably one of my favorites. But also things like Night Crawling with Billy Idol, Bad Karma with Joan Jett. She also does really great covers of Blondie's Heart of Glass and Zombie by the Cranberries. Awesome album. And finally, to round out the C's, well, I won't go too much into this one because if you want to see me deep dive into it, a few videos back, I did a review of this whole thing as it's fairly new, and I did an unboxing and review of it. Miley Cyrus's Endless Summer Vacation. Also a really great album. This is the white vinyl from Target, was who did the white. And like I said before, I'm a sucker for special colors and stuff like that. But yeah, another great album. So that's going to do it for the letter C in my collection. Anything stand out to you that you thought was super cool? Leave it in the comments below. You have a favorite album of yours in your collection under the letter C? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like what you see and you want to follow us on social media, you can do so on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. All those links are in the description of this video. And we will see you next time for another episode of Todd's Turntable Talk.